What is going on, bull runners? Welcome back to the channel. We are out right now on Lake June going gator hunting, man. We're at Amanda's family's lake house. And by the way, guys, if you ever want an awesome trip, an awesome vacation with your family, link in the description below. I'm going to leave a quick plug there for Amanda's family. If you want to go check it out, support the business, support the hustle. So in today's video, I want to be talking about some big news that's happening right now in the crypto space that you're not going to want to miss. So comment 777 if you're feeling blessed. Comment 777 if you're feeling bullish. This is big news. It's happening in the next 24 to 48 hours. Let's run it. All right, welcome back to the channel. So what is happening in the space right now that you need to know? Well, Gary Gensler, everyone knows, the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, he's going to be appearing before a digital asset subcommittee April 18th to discuss his rulemaking, which is tomorrow at the time that I'm filming this video right now. And he's going to be discussing his rulemaking and approach to cryptos in the broader digital asset space. Now, he's recently been under the spotlight, not in a positive way, but in a negative way recently because of his questionable calls on what he's been saying. Because following the Ethereum merge, he quickly labeled Ethereum a security, attributing the classification to the change in protocol from a proof of work to proof of stake. So the CFTC chair, his name's Rodin Benham, I think I pronounced his name right, but he has not and still doesn't agree with Gensler. He labeled Ethereum as a commodity earlier this month, and he did so back in 2015 as well, and did so again this week, which is actually great news for Ethereum as it's up over 20% in the past 30 days. Ethereum's been going crazy. And also the House Financial Services Chair plans a regulatory sphere for crypto assets in the subcommittee hearing, which will be the first of many regulatory hearings throughout this summer. And the committee has released a draft bill on a stablecoin bill, guys, that you need to know about, with proposals including a temporary memorandum on stablecoins backed by cryptocurrencies pending a study that's going to be taking place, which would not be good news if it was passed because they don't want stablecoins. That's why they're coming out with their CBDC program and all that stuff. So the bill is the first major piece of crypto legislation to emerge in 2023 and comes after two key incidents, which happened back with UST, Terra Luna stablecoin, and Paxos' stablecoin the last year. And then USDC also, you guys remember when it depegged due to the Silicon Valley Bank collapse and them having a little bit of exposure to that, bringing the stablecoin below $1. And then, recently it repegged again. People were worried about USDC because it was seen as the most legitimate stablecoin. And with what I'm about to share with you in a little bit, it's pretty shocking news because they also proposed a study on the potential impact of a central banking digital currency issued by the Federal Reserve after their FedNow program that I talked about in one of the previous videos that's coming this summer. So their pilot program is happening July, so you guys need to be ready. And then August, there's going to be some major announcements as well too for what's happening with the BRICS nations that we're going to be covering on the channel. And so FedNow, it's not, people are confusing this because FedNow is not a CBDC, it's not a central banking digital currency. It is their payment gateway in the United States specifically, but they have yet to announce their plans for the CBDC and how that's going to work with FedNow. So all of this is in implementation and testing and design phases right now. And over the next few years is when this is really going to start to hit home. But what you need to know right now, when things are going to start to take place over the next few years, is the subcommittee hearing on stablecoins is taking place Wednesday. And this is featuring representatives from Circle Internet Financial and the Blockchain Association. A spokesperson from the chair of the committee said the bill had been circulating amongst lawmakers since this last fall of 2022, but had not previously been made public until now. And systemic stablecoins or tokens which pose risks, and this is what they're saying, systemic stablecoins or tokens which pose risk to the financial system would need to be backed with highly liquid assets to ensure holders can easily withdraw their funds. And so that's when we talk about the BRICS nations creating a precious metal backed digital currency through a basket of precious metals to make sure that it actually has some legitimacy to it. So the British government is consulting on new regulation to address the risks posed by digital currencies to consumers, while also seeking to ensure the country is seen as a place for crypto firms to do businesses as they are diving heavily into blockchain technology. And the Financial Services and Markets Bill aims to bring asset-backed stablecoins into the regulatory fold. And over in the UK, because if we're not just focused on what's happening in the United States right now, the UK is exploring the possible issuance of a digital version of the British pound. They've been talking about it continuously, and a central banking digital currency is likely to be needed if current trends in payments and money continue, which they will for crypto, as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other projects are considered commodities. So the Bank of England and the UK Treasury are debating concerns over how such currencies would be implemented, such as the privacy of people transacting with them and implications for financial stability. So CBDCs, they say they're going to make things better, but they do add a massive layer of security as well too. So we will update you on what's happening during this meeting over the next few days, guys. So stay tuned in over the next 24 to 48 hours. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure that you share this video with a friend, because the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has also charged Bittrex. And so in one of my previous videos, I talked about Bittrex and how they are closing down their operations in the U.S. They're a United States-based cryptocurrency exchange, and they've been operating, the SEC is saying, unregistered securities exchange is what they're being charged for. So the regulator said Bitcoin worked with issuers to change certain materials to delete statements that may raise SEC scrutiny, including price predictions and statements indicating an expectation of profit. And so the SEC is just doing whatever they can to come after these exchanges. And their complaint also states that Bittrex should have registered as an exchange broker and clearing agency, as it provided the services of all three entities. So Bittrex recently announced, obviously, that they're planning to exit the U.S. market due to regulatory environment. They didn't say anything about a lawsuit against the SEC, as they, obviously probably didn't want to put that in the report. And as I previously talked about in one of my videos, if you go back on the channel, their suit is similar to the recent actions that took place against Bexy, and is I can barely talk right now, guys, but it's suggestive of charges and may bring against Coinbase as well, too, which recently received a Wells notice from the SEC. And according to the SEC's complaint, XRP, Amisco, Algorand, Dash, Token Card, iHouse Token, and Naga are all securities. And as you know, Algorand and XRP are on the ISO 20022 compliant list. So what does that mean? Because a lot of people in the space are talking about how, the ISO 20022 compliant list is what the new infrastructure that's going to overhaul the whole banking system. You guys know the SWIFT banking system, ACH transfers, wire transfers. Well, ISO 20022 is going to overhaul that this year in the United States. So the International Organization of Standardization is what ISO is short for. And it's based in Switzerland. It's developing a new messaging standard called ISO 20022 that aims to harmonize financial communications across different countries, languages, and systems, connecting the banking world. And so it's providing a standardized structure for financial messages, including cryptocurrency transactions as well, too. So the adoption of ISO by financial institutions and payment systems is expected to reduce costs, improve efficiency, increase transparency in financial transactions, which is what they're worried about for the, transparency and security with CBDCs. So this standard is already in use. It's implemented right now. It's ongoing in many financial institutions. So this is not some theory here. It's not brand new. It's already working worldwide. It's been adopted by major payment systems and financial market infrastructures. It's being integrated into the operations of banks, payment processors, and other financial institutions. So in the context of cryptocurrencies, some exchanges and payment processors have also started to adopt the standard, such as Coinbase, which is the largest United States exchange, Bitstamp, and Binance, announcing their plans to adopt the standard. So they're supporting ISO 20022, supports various payment types, including cross-border payments, securities, foreign exchange, card payments. So by adopting this standard, cryptocurrency exchanges can exchange their interoperability with traditional financial systems and banks to provide better services for their customers. So the projects on the ISO list that we covered on the channel that were compliant for it, are the projects that people believed were going to be absolutely massive in the future. However, the adoption of this ISO 20022 by cryptocurrency companies and the entire industry also poses some challenges, such as the need for compliance with anti-money laundering, know your customer, KYC regulations. And back in 2016, if you remember correctly, ISO concluded that ISO 4217 standard could not assign official currency codes to cryptocurrencies, which made it difficult at that time to classify the difference between something like a Bitcoin or a Bitcoin Cash. So they had to do like Bitcoin SV and all that stuff. So instead, the solution would be a new category of codes to help identify digital currencies called digital token identifiers. And that's what they've been working on. So in September of 2021, ISO released the digital token identifier standard, which was, I believe it was ISO 24165-1. I know, don't get overwhelmed by the codes here and all this stuff, but basically it allows token creators to assign fixed length identifiers for their tokens and register them with the ISO database. And these codes will be standardized and deployed to financial institutions worldwide, allowing them to manage digital tokens on behalf of their clients and make it easier to transfer and know exactly what they're transferring with all these altcoins out there. And for the ISO 20022 standard, Europe is transitioning to that already, and the US is supposed to implement it this year. If the SEC will get their head out of their ass, they'll figure out what they're doing with this Ripple lawsuit and give the industry regulatory clarity that they need, versus just saying everything's a security. Instead of through due process, they do it by enforcement. So the European Central Bank launched their digital euro project, and other countries are way ahead of the United States with this. The euro system's new real-time gross settlement system, which is called the T2 system and central liquidity management tool, which went live on the 20th of March, just then less than a month ago. So the T2 system uses the ISO 20022 messaging standard and a set of common components that are shared across target services, saving money for everyone involved in massive institutions. The project will take place in 2 phases over the next 2 years. The first phase is going to focus on design and experimentation, and the second phase is involving extensive testing. So just like I said, it's going to take a few years, guys. So we're 2023 right now, essentially at the peak of this bull run based on the 4-year market cycle theories, when all this stuff is going to be finally applied. And there's still going to be testing going. I think it's really going to take 5 to 10 years. You saw how long it took for the SWIFT system to be fully implemented across the whole entire banking sector. If you were paying attention to that, it took a while. It just didn't happen the first year, the first 2 years, let alone 5 to 10 years, because all these banks had to move things around and shift stuff up. Same thing with blockchain technology. The banks have to overhaul their whole entire financial structure. So the European Central Bank has emphasized that the digital euro would complement, it wouldn't replace cash. And that is an issuance that would not affect their monetary policy stance. So people think that cash is going to go away quick. It's going to take some time. The dollar, and fiat currencies and other countries' currencies are just slowly bleeding out. It's not just going to, I don't think, I could be wrong here, with the people that say it's going to be a great reset and it's just going to, the switch is going to be flipped overnight. For all we know, that could happen, man. And it could go to, XRP, it could go to something. We don't know. The phoenix, like a phoenix spawning from the ashes, right? They say get ready for a one world currency. Now, I believe it's going to take some time for that to happen, because you have so many jurisdictions, so many legal policies and across different countries for them to do that. So just know that the dominoes are being tipped right now, and it's being tipped in the favor of XRP. So with most of these developments taking place right now, it's going to take time. That's what you have to be patient for, because global banking infrastructures have to be overhauled. And right now in the United States, the only cryptocurrencies that are considered commodities by the CFTC's filing against Binance, the regulator said certain digital assets, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and at least 2 fiat-backed stablecoins, Tether and Binance USD, which is their stablecoin on the Binance Smart Chain, are commodities. And so this is a big deal, because that list will change over time, and everyone in the XRP army is hoping that XRP makes that list when this lawsuit wraps up, because commodities and securities are both 2 different types of financial assets, and they are regulated under different ways, and they differ in several ways, because commodities are tangible goods that are typically traded in bulk, such as, you got oil, you got gold, agricultural products, and securities, on the other hand, are financial instruments that represent ownership in a company, organization, or a government, which is what the SEC is claiming that XRP is. You're having some ownership in a company, Ripple, and so commodities are typically bought and sold for their underlying value as a physical asset, such as their use in manufacturing or as a store of value, which is what people have been saying Bitcoin is. It's not a cryptocurrency, it's a crypto asset. It's a store of value. It's not meant to be used in your day-to-day coffee purchases or going to Walmart and backing up the truck for your hot dogs, for your barbecues. It's not meant for that. It's a store of value for what? For inflation, as the dollar goes down. And so securities, on the other hand, are bought and sold as investments with the expectation of generating a return on the investment. So commodities are generally subject to oversight by the Commodities Future Trading Commission, which is the CFTC that I mentioned, in the United States specifically, and other similar agencies around the world. Now, securities, on the other hand, are typically regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. And so they want their control over Ripple and XRP, because Ripple, it's the most powerful company. XRP is the most powerful cryptocurrency that is connecting the banking world. And what happens when you connect the banking world? Well, then who controls the banks loses power because they have their control over the world. It's like when you have a one road in a city and you own that road. Well, if all these other companies are trying to start other roads and it brings business away from your road and someone has to pay you these tolls to go across the road, do you think that would piss you off a little bit? Yes. I mean, if you were trying to, not let other people win, but if you want other people to win, if you want the world to improve, then you would bet, or you would not bet, I hate the word bet because you think it's gambling. No, you would root for, a company like Ripple in this case. So commodities are often subject to price fluctuations due to changes in supply and demand, obviously. And, you got geopolitical events and other factors. Now, securities are subject to price fluctuations, but their values are typically influenced more by the financial performance of the underlying companies or the organizations that own them. And that's what the SEC is trying to argue, right? The XRP's value is being influenced more by Ripple than the overall liquidity growth in the market, which accounts for the majority of growth or decline in XRP, which is the rise or fall of the total market cap based on macro market sentiment. So right now, in my opinion, what the Fed is doing and what the Fed has done is having a bigger impact on the price of XRP than what Ripple does. Because how many banks, guys, have we seen and have we reported on over the past few years that have announced massive partnerships with Ripple, and you saw XRP, the price of XRP, do absolutely nothing? Almost every single time. Maybe there's a few times based on the hype of something happening, but overall it was based on massive liquidity growth in the entire industry. And so when we saw the tides rise, right? When the tides rise, so do all ships, or jet skis in this case. So overall, the main difference between commodities and securities is that commodities are tangible goods traded for their underlying value, while securities are financial instruments traded for their investment potential. So XRP's purpose is to be a digital asset that is used to facilitate fast and low-cost international payments and transfers on the Ripple network for banks and financial institutions across the globe. It's not meant for an expectation of profit. It's meant for the banks to use this. Like I've said, it's not meant to be your little day-to-day transaction currency in the store. It's meant for the massive banks and to be the bridge currency. So we will see what the judge decides in her summary judgment, because when that will take place, any day now. Could happen any day now. It was supposed to happen in March based on what Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, was saying. And so you just have to be ready. You got to be ready for the positive. You got to be ready for the negative. You have to have a contingency plan. You have to have a diversification strategy. That's why it is very, very smart. I don't have to insult your intelligence. I believe you're already smart. You already understand the key of being well diversified, having passive income on the front end. The largest bank in America says we are heading into a recession later this year. The Federal Reserve of the United States, says we are heading into the recession this year. So I'm just reporting on that. Hey, if it happens and they're telling us that, then you better have a plan for that. And hey, if we head into a depression, you better be ready for that as well too, because what happened back in the 1920s, 1930s for the Great Depression, we are about to see something even crazier happen. For my entire life, man, it's been the best of times. This whole country has been growing massively, and we haven't seen bad times. So the younger generation that hasn't been through a bad time is going to be absolutely screwed. And it sucks, but at the same time, it doesn't suck if you're prepared. So you got to be ready. 777 below if you're feeling blessed. Subscribe to our daily video newsletter on bullrunners.com if you want to receive more valuable updates like this every single day, because you know what we're doing. We're backing up our truck all the way to the bank. Actually, we're backing up the jet skier. We're backing up the boat all the way to the dock. We're grabbing the bags. We're packing them and stacking them, leaving no bags left behind, because the spending power of the dollar is going down in value. That's a fact. Cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, Bull Runners Club going up in value. That's the truth. And together, we're all going camping on the beaches. You know what to do. Stay bullish.